Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's so great to have you here hanging out with me. I want to take a quick moment to thank all of you that have subscribed and that support my channel, and for each and every time you've hit that like button because it really helps this channel out. I just hit 100,000 subscribers and I really want to say that you guys are the best. You have no idea how much it means to me to have your support. I created this channel all by myself, all the content, all the editing, and I just started from absolutely nothing. I knew nothing about editing. I knew nothing about filming anything, and I do it with the hope that the information in some way helps you in your life, and with the hope that you're entertained in the process. So thanks again from the bottom of my heart. Okay, Taurus season is underway, and as promised, I want to give you a few of the major planetary shifts going on and how they affect your specific chart. So this way you can make the most of your Taurus season and the time we have coming up when we shift into Gemini season and into summer. We have Saturn retrograde, Venus going retrograde, and Jupiter going retrograde. So no more wasting time. Here are the goods on those planetary shifts and what they mean for you. Let's go. Okay, Aries, Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, which will be in your 11th house. Now, when any planet goes retrograde, it means that it's a time for going back to re-examine the area of your life that this planet influences and what house in your chart this transit takes place. Now, because it is in your 11th house, this means that from May 11th until July 1st, when it shifts back into retrograde Capricorn, it will be very important for you to examine the role that your network and personal circle of friends play in your life. This is the time where you really need to examine who the people are that you have in your life and the type of influence that they have on you. Do they support you and inspire you to be your best self? Or do they bring you down and feed you with negative energy and keep you stuck? Answer these questions honestly with yourself, because it's time to really take inventory of the people in your life, making sure to bring awareness to who they are. You know who the people are that do not have a positive influence on you, and possibly deciding that it could be in your best interest to give those people much less of your energy is really important at this time. So Saturn retrograde in Aquarius for you is all about learning the lesson of what role the people in your life play and starting to make the necessary adjustments to make sure you continue your path surrounded by people who love you, who support you, and who lend to you being your best self. All right, now Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, so this is an opportunity to re-examine the way you communicate in your relationships. If there's been something going on that's been a disconnect with you and someone else based on a miscommunication or just any argument that you don't really feel like has been resolved, this Venus retrograde is the perfect time to get a redo on that scenario and that conversation. Make sure whenever you address someone about something that you're unhappy with, you approach them with a non-accusatory tone. Have a conversation more based on finding a mutual resolution and less based on determining who's right and who's wrong. In addition to being a great time for healing relationships, it's also a time where you'll find yourself wanting to save money instead of spend money. And don't forget, Taurus season is all about consistency and staying the course. So you want to use this time to implement these tools and stay consistent with an effective game plan when it comes to your finances. Take your time, Aries. You can start to expand and get back to risk taking once we're in Gemini season, but as of now, it's about going back and tying up loose ends and reevaluating the way you deal with money. And finally, Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, which will be in your 10th house. And this means that when it comes to work, you're being given an opportunity to get back into the flow of things, but you must first go back and rework your perspective on your career. This COVID-19 situation has really zapped the optimism in all of us, really, and it's understandable. So Aries, it would be in your best interest to take a step back, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you're a problem solver and you're not the type of person that has a victim mentality. So this Jupiter retrograde for you is all about regaining your optimism and excitement about life, but mainly about work and about money and manifesting the things that you desire. So Aries, now that we're mid-Taurus season, these big planetary shifts are reminding you where to put your focus, and the overall theme for you is evaluating your relationships, upping your communication game when it comes to any relationships that need to be healed, and re-energizing your perspective when it comes to your work. Look at this as a preparation period for Gemini season when we begin to transition into the next phase. This way, when we begin that transition, you will be on it and ready to go. Okay, Taurus. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 10th house, which means this is time for self-examination when it comes to your goals and where you truly want to go in this chapter of your life. There is something regarding your work work situation that you've left unsaid or you haven't dealt with that will come back around, giving you the opportunity to handle it. So get clear on what it is that you want. This way, when you approach the situation, you can know what your intention is, which will give you clarity on how to handle the situation. This is because you'll know exactly what you intend to accomplish when you approach the topic. So think less about major leaps forward during this time and much more about cleaning up anything unresolved from the past. Be realistic with yourself, be honest with yourself, and remind yourself that this Taurus season, the energy is perfect for you to really step into your power. But in order for your power to have the impact that it's capable of having, and in this instance, it's regarding work, you must deal with anything lingering from the past. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your second house, which means it's all about money for you. It's time to ask yourself, what is your relationship with money? Do you feel like it's a healthy one? And if not, now is the time to really get clear on how you see money, making sure you begin to create a healthy relationship with money so you can make as much of it as you possibly can while having freedom around the idea of money so it doesn't rule your life or your emotions. Now, when we hear Venus, a lot of us want to immediately think love. Is love coming my way, or is my relationship going to get better, or am I breaking up? And it could be possible during this Venus retrograde that someone from your past shows up, but for you, Taurus, this Venus retrograde is much more about the energetic opening for financial abundance. So make sure to put your focus on how you can improve your manifesting power when it comes to money during this time. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 9th house, which means this is actually a time for you going back to relearn something that you either didn't completely understand the first time around, or something that you knew you were going to have to do but just kept putting it off. It could be a class regarding your profession, a skill you need to learn to improve your status at work, or just learning a tool for life that you know you need to focus on improving so you can up your game in terms of self-confidence. So these big planetary shifts, Taurus, are offering you an opportunity for self-improvement, which is great to get started on this during your birthday month, because it just means from that point on, you're just going to get better with time. So these energetic openings are opportunities for improving those parts of your life, so this way you can be more confident and powerful than ever when we step into Gemini season on May 20th. Okay, Gemini. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 9th house, which means you will be coming in direct contact with any self-defeating attitude that you may have been dealing with. And this means being given the opportunity to overcome that voice in your head that we all have that undermines your ability to be your best self. Gemini, you are so talented and intelligent, but you can get in your own way at times by focusing on the things that frustrate you or the overwhelming thoughts of the what ifs. What if something goes wrong? What if I'm not prepared? And these things bring you down as opposed to focusing on what it is that you want and figuring out how to make that happen. One of the main ways to overcome a voice of insecurity or doubt is to gain new experiences and learn new tools to give you the confidence to push forward with certainty. So use this Saturn retrograde as a time to refocus your thought process on giving energy to solutions and how to make things work, as opposed to focusing on what's wrong and why something won't work. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 1st house. So this is going to be a time where you're reevaluating how you present yourself to the world. You may want to change up your image a bit. Remember that maximizing your image is a way to show your inner value. This is also a time to really ask yourself, what role are you playing in your relationships, both romantic and otherwise, including your relationship with money. So Gemini, as we begin to prepare for your birthday season, use the reminder of this Taurus season to really get on board with stepping into the new you, realizing that in order to do so, a reinvention may be in order. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 8th house, which will help you with this transformation I was just talking about. But here, it's really urging you to let go of trying to control everything and just go with the flow, knowing that when you step into the flow and stop resisting what is, you'll be more powerful than you ever have been. So this is your time, Gemini, to really look inward and decide who you are and who you wish to become, and start implementing the actions that will begin to create that life that you know you deserve. Okay, Cancer. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 8th house, which is the house of transformation. And this is fantastic for you, Cancers, because it's offering you the opportunity to reevaluate the habits you have that you know lead to disappointment, whether it be defeating thoughts or looking to instant gratification as an escape, or constantly constantly going into the past to justify why you feel a certain way. This is time for you to really look inward and be honest with yourself about the things that you want to transform when it comes to how you cope with the world and with yourself. This way you can really begin to let go of the habits that hold you back, and you can begin to thrive in a way that you know you can when you're at your best. So Saturn retrograde is giving you a chance to rewire your inner workings and come out on the other side stronger than ever. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 12th house, which means it's going to be a big one for you Cancers. This is not a time to rush into any big decisions regarding your relationships or your career. It's a time to tap into your spiritual connection. That way you know that inner voice that tells you if something's good or if something's bad, if something's right for you or if something's wrong for you, and use that voice to help you navigate when it comes to your relationships and your career. Instead of the thoughts and the scenarios and the speculations that your mind can come up with the what ifs, like I always talk about, instead of the what ifs, you want to go to the inner feeling that you have, the instinctual feeling, the underlying truth that you have when it comes to both of those areas, your relationships and your career. Reminding yourself that the physical world is one thing, but the spiritual world is quite another, and both must be tended to if you want to maintain a balance so you can thrive in your life. This is the perfect time to ask yourself, what are the things in your career that you know you need in order to be happy? And what are the things in your relationships that you know you need in order to feel fulfilled within those relationships? And then make sure you are taking the steps to create the environment where those things can manifest, and also having the courage to communicate those needs when the opportunity arises. Now, when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 7th house, which is all about love for you Cancers, which I know is one of your favorite topics. It's definitely one of mine. And when it comes to love with this Jupiter retrograde, it's reminding you that when it comes to love, in order for you to be at your best and experience the love that you deserve, you have to be responsible for your behavior. Meaning this, I know many times something happens in your relationships where the other person is wrong for what they're doing and it's hurting your feelings. Understandable, but it's about how you decide to deal with those feelings, how you decide to resolve the issue. That's what you have to be responsible for. You have to be responsible for saying, okay, this person has hurt me, their behavior is hurting me, so how am I going to go about communicating with them in a way that's going to reconnect us instead of just continuing the disconnect? So it's really important that you start to really recognize that the outcome has a lot to do with how you decide to handle your feelings. You know the behaviors that you have that lead to unhappiness. And you know the behaviors that you have that lead to happiness. You know the ones that lead to disconnect and frustration. So use this energetic opening to truly begin letting go of defeating behaviors. Spend less time wondering why you do the things that you do and more time on doing new things to replace those behaviors. So overall, Cancers, use these huge planetary shifts as the reminder that Taurus season is the time to really evaluate what part you play in the areas of your life like career and love, and the things you know you can do to make sure you're doing your part to manifest for yourself the happiness you deserve. This way the universe can reflect back to you that level of self-love and self-awareness. And this way you'll be feeling like you are living your best life by the time we begin Gemini season on May 20th. Now Leo, when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 7th house of partnership and love. So this means it is time to revisit the idea of romance for you, Leo. Ask yourself, where are you in terms of love and relationships relative to where you actually want to be when it comes to love and relationships? Only asking yourself this question so you can identify any place in your day-to-day life where you can begin to reignite your desire. With all of this isolation that's been going on, it's really easy to forget who you are in terms of when you experience the world in a more normal way. The Saturn retrograde wants to remind you of what you desire and to make sure that you're doing your part to create the circumstances for you to manifest exactly what it is you want and deserve. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 11th house, which works hand in hand with Saturn retrograde, urging you to reintroduce yourself back into the world of deep connection and love with regard to friends, family, work, basically all of the things that we were taking for granted before. Now is the time for you, Leo, to light that fiery ambition of yours in the direction of reconnection. Make sure the people in your life that are important to you know it. Starting with yourself, see this as a resurgence of you and the world of abundance, especially when it comes to love and money. These planetary shifts are reminding you to take a look at these aspects of your life and yourself that you may have neglected a bit during this quarantine situation, so you can bring awareness to the fact fact that there's always a way for you to experience the things that you love, and to remind you to give energy and effort to feeding those areas of your life that you know bring you joy. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 6th house, which is also in alignment with the energetic opening of Saturn and Venus going retrograde, because Jupiter retrograde is reminding you that luck comes your way when you're doing two things: taking care of your needs and balancing that with being of service to others. So make sure that you haven't gotten too used to just being in your own world. It's great to have the self-love and independence to make a transition when necessary to a world where we have less access to each other. So when things like a global pandemic show up, you're prepared and not shaken and you're cool by yourself. But don't let the adjustment put you in a state of mind where you forget the things that help you thrive. And sharing for you, Leo, is at the root of your happiness and success. So use the rest of this Taurus season as the perfect opportunity to blend this new you with the core of who you are. This way you step into Gemini season on May 20th, more powerful, full of life, and ready to experience all of the joy and love that you have coming your way. Okay, Virgo. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 6th house, which is giving you the opportunity to reevaluate your health, meaning asking yourself, how have you been holding up during this quarantine? Have you been eating right, working out, meditating, or have you gone down the road that a lot of us have gone down, which is the opposite of those things? If you've been living in a way that you know is not the healthiest, then now is the time to hit the reset button and begin a new phase of health and well-being, making sure that you factor in the health of your mind, your body, and your soul. Make sure to implement things in your daily schedule that benefit you in all of these areas. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 10th house, which is really urging you to take a look at what it is you do for money. Where are you when it comes to your career? And be honest with yourself. And instead of focusing on what you don't like, get a clear vision of what it is you want to manifest, and just begin the journey of establishing how you're going to create the life that you envision. Don't spend any time on the reasons something might not work or why something didn't work in the past. Only focus on what you want and finding ways to make that happen. This way, when we shift into Gemini season, you will be in the flow and on the path to creating the life that you know you desire and deserve. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 5th house, which is giving you the opportunity to look inward and remind yourself of what it is you like to do in terms of self-expression that brings you joy. Sometimes as a Virgo, you get wrapped up in the daily tasks of just living and you forget to enjoy yourself. You forget to have fun and you forget not to take everything so seriously. So use the power of these 3 planets going retrograde to get a reassurance of power, Virgos. And as a reminder, don't forget, Taurus season is all about you organizing your thoughts and your feelings, getting all of those things on the same page so you can truly step into your flow, and don't forget to enjoy the process. When it comes to work, when it comes to money, and when it comes to love, and when it comes to the creativity of living, just let go of the past frustrations, ground yourself in the present moment, and move forward with a new game plan based on a foundation of truly knowing who you are, what you want, and how to get there based on your confidence and your capabilities. All right, Libra. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius for you, this will be in your 5th house, which means it is time for you to remind yourself of what it is you love to do when it comes to expressing your creativity and all around enjoying life. These have been some really challenging times for you, Libra, because the world has been out of balance. And when you're in a situation where your surroundings are imbalanced, it has a major effect on how you see not only the world, but how you see yourself and life in general. So this Saturn retrograde is giving you the opportunity to revisit the idea of enjoying life, not being afraid of it, being lighthearted, having fun, not worrying about the future. Now that's easier said than done, I know, but if you remind yourself that life is always taking place in the present moment, and that you have no business spending time worrying about the future scenarios that only exist in your mind, then you will feel the freedom that being grounded in the present moment can bring. Yes, of course, plan ahead. This is great when it comes to being prepared and doing your part in manifesting the things that you desire. But when that Libra brain of yours begins the what if game, what if I run out of money? What if my relationship ends? What if I'm too old? Remember that what if game is the trick of your ego attempting to keep you stuck. If you're going to play the what if game, then say, what if everything works out exactly how it's meant to? And in the meantime, I focus on enjoying my life and making the most of each present moment and not taking everything so seriously. This will be a powerful switch for you, Libra, and a great use of this Saturn retrograde energy. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 9th house, which means that when it comes to work and money, some change in location can be about to occur, and to just be ready to embrace this change because it will work out for the best. Also remind yourself, if any old flame comes crawling back to rekindle that Libra love, that things in the past are best left in the past. This is your time for consistently focusing on your present and creating new habits and new thought patterns that support forward movement, expansion, and enjoyment. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 4th house, which means when it comes to good luck and security, your home life is going to really give you comfort in these areas. So be excited either by the new home or new living space that you're about to step into, or know that it may mean that relationships with family will be resolved that have been weighing on you for a while. Either way, Libras, these 3 important retrogrades are all pointing you towards re-establishing your optimism, your excitement around money, around home, and just enjoying life in general. So use this remainder of Taurus season to tie up loose ends, release any old ways of thinking, and embrace this new excitement of the upcoming Gemini season, where you will start to spread your wings and fly. And Gemini season begins on May 20th. Okay, Scorpio. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 4th house, which is letting you know that it is now time for spring cleaning, meaning your home is a place to feel safe, to recharge, and to recalibrate. And it is very important during this time to clean out any clutter, both in your actual material life where you live, but also in your spiritual home. So now is the time, Scorpios. If you have picked up some bad habits during quarantine or let some areas of your life go that you know you need to tend to, now is the time to tend to those things. It is really important to have this new sense of space, of clarity, and of freedom as we move through the remainder of Taurus season. Remember, Taurus season is one of your most difficult times of year because it's the opposing force to your Scorpio energy. So don't be hard on yourself if you feel like you may not have been your best in the past few weeks. Now's the time to just hit that reset button and start on a path of getting back to feeling like yourself. And the perfect start to that process is really fixing up your home situation so you can feel the energy of your home reflecting back to you the way that you want to experience life, which is with open space, an even flow of energy, and just an overall optimistic, excited feeling. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 8th house, which means falling in love again with what is, with what your reality is, meaning looking around at your current situation and accepting where you are right now, and that's a great place to start in terms of transformation when it comes to love, when it comes to money, because both of these areas that Venus has a major influence on are going to be waiting on that transformation, Scorpios. First, say to yourself, I will always have more than enough of both of these things, love and money, and really feel what that type of thought process brings to your emotional disposition. Having that belief and certainty as your foundation will set you right in terms of preparation for moving forward during Gemini season, where you really get your full balance back and your power back. So no big decisions for the remainder of Taurus season, other than deciding for yourself that it is time to really see what life has to offer when you let go of the past and reestablish your belief in the future, and recognizing what you can create by always staying grounded in the present moment and trusting your instincts. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 3rd house, reminding you that now is also the time to up your communication game, Scorpio. This Taurus season, although it has been a challenging one, has been and will continue to be a great opportunity to regroup and decide who you want to be moving forward. Being your best self will involve a willingness to communicate your needs, which will be supported by this Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn, and a willingness to establish that strong foundation of belief in yourself and your capabilities when it comes to manifesting love and financial abundance, which will be supported by this Venus retrograde in Gemini, and beginning this journey by organizing your home situation, which will be supported by Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So this way, when we step into Gemini season on May 20th, you will be doing so with a renewed light in your eyes, ready for all the gifts the universe has coming your way. You got this, Scorpio. Now Sagittarius. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your third house, which is giving you the opportunity to go back and finish up a project that you are working on, or to finish a course on a skill that you were learning. The third house is all about your mental activity and the way you communicate that mental activity. And you want to do so in the most effective way possible. So look at this Saturn retrograde period as an opportunity to go back and clear up any details regarding conversations you may have had in the recent past about work, or the plans that you have for yourself in the upcoming months. You want to make sure that everything is clear and that everyone's on the same page in your inner circle when it comes to making forward movement once Gemini season rolls around. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 7th house. So this means it is time for you to take stock of your romantic life and get very clear on what it is that you want. If you're in a relationship, it's about taking that clarity of what it is that you want and communicating that to the person that you're with in the most effective way possible, so you can either deepen that relationship and connection, or come to the conclusion that if this person isn't willing to be the type of relationship where you both work to make sure that the other person is getting what they require in order to stay excited by the relationship, then maybe it's time to let go. This Venus retrograde for you is less about money and much more about love, because making sure your relationship is in order will be necessary, so when you're moving forward in the upcoming months, your relationship acts as a support system as opposed to a distraction. If you're single, then it's about getting clear with yourself on where you are with relationships. Do you want one right now? Or are you more focused on other areas of your life? Which obviously is perfectly fine, but you want to make sure either way to use this Venus retrograde in your 7th house as an opportunity to find clarity, peace, and ultimately joy with your romantic life. Maybe you giving yourself love right now is all you need, but it is important to know what that love looks like to make sure you're receiving it, not only from yourself, but if you are in a relationship, that the balance of give and take is even and active. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 2nd house, which means now we can talk about money. My favorite topic, right next to love. This is urging you to go back to an idea you had in the past about a great way to make money and to start to give energy to that now. It could prove to be very lucrative moving forward. It could also mean that an opportunity that fell through in the past could be coming back around, or could also be an indication that if work and finances fell off for you during this whole COVID-19 situation, that this will be the beginning of you getting back into the financial flow that you're accustomed to. So all of the above is pointing to a positive outlook for you, Sagittarius. So although things may have been and may still appear to be frustrating, all 3 of these planetary shifts are urging you to look at your current circumstances as the perfect starting point for upward movement by using the retrograde energy to go back and finish up any unfinished business in these 3 areas: work, love, and your mental outlook on things. And make sure that you take the time to make whatever adjustments necessary to support your goals and forward movement. This way you will be ready for the transition when we step into Gemini season. Okay, Capricorn, so when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 2nd house. So for you, this means your focus here will be money. And sadly enough, it won't be focused on receiving money right at this time, but on saving money, and more than anything, focusing on working hard to generate more revenue. Remember, this Taurus season is about staying the course, and for you Capricorns, this Saturn retrograde is giving you the push to return back to the idea of focus, consistency, hard work, and reminding yourself that those are the necessary pieces to the abundance puzzle. Now, this doesn't mean that you won't make money during this Saturn retrograde. It just means that it's more of a building phase than a benefits phase. And I know it seems very typical to be talking to Capricorns, to be talking about money, but this retrograde is occurring in your 2nd house, and your 2nd house is the house of money and material possessions. So consistency, Capricorn, that is your theme during this time, and just know that the benefits will begin to flow slowly but surely, hitting a high point around the end of September, where the flow of income should substantially increase based on all of the work you do from now until then. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 6th house. So this is urging you to pay attention to your health and really make the necessary changes to reestablish healthy habits when it comes to not only your physical well-being, but also your emotional well-being. Are your relationships healthy? Are you giving as much in your relationships as you're receiving? This retrograde period is offering you the opportunity to create a new normal in these areas of your life. This way they don't prove to be any distraction later in the year when things really start to pick up for you. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your first house, which is really just letting you know that for you Capricorns, luck has always been created when you are feeling your best. You know in your life the times when you feel like you are in the flow and you're feeling confident, that's when things seem to fall right into place for you. So this Jupiter retrograde is urging you to get back to the mindset of working on your inner world if you want your outer world to reflect back to you the joy and abundance that you know you deserve. So Capricorn, these 3 big planetary shifts are giving you the opportunity to get back to who you truly are, releasing any resentment or frustration you may be feeling recently, and reminding yourself of who you are and what is important to you in life. This is a time for building up your strength, your discipline, and reigniting your optimistic perspective when it comes to the life that you're creating for yourself. So use the reminder of this Taurus season to stay consistent with the actions you're taking to move forward, while making sure to use the energy of these retrograde planets to go back and adjust your perspective and your game plan when it comes to work, your health and well-being, and your mental perspective on your ability to create good fortune. This way you will be feeling your best and in the flow when we step into Gemini season on May 20th. Okay, Aquarius. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your first house, which is letting you know, Aquarius, that it is time to reinvent yourself. Meaning this is the time to look at your past self and be honest with your present self about what steps need to be taken in order for you to actualize to the future self that you've envisioned. Being honest with yourself of what your limitations are. Now, I believe anything is possible and we should never think in terms of limitations, but you know yourself, Aquarius. You know the areas of your life that you fall short. And also, you know the areas that you thrive in. Now is the time to take a serious look at the truth of who you are and honestly say to yourself, what are the necessary steps I need to take to truly make a transformation? This way you can release your former self, stepping into the new version of yourself, ready to take on the new experiences that this new outlook will bring. We are all a work in progress. And for you, Aquarius, the work will be remaining committed to your vision and not allowing anything to divert you from your goal. This will result in a newfound identity and a new understanding of yourself. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 5th house, which means it's time for you to look back on a creative idea or project that you had that could be a potential moneymaker and start to revisit that idea. Now may be the time to start putting that plan into action. This also is a time where you might want to hit up an ex, or an ex might hit you up for some fun, but it will be just that. Maybe a revisiting of the physical connection the two of you had, but more than likely it won't develop any further. So use this Venus retrograde as a time to have fun, but to also, while having fun, begin to think of all those great ideas you've had along the way of what you could do with your career to make money, and choose which one you're most excited about and begin that journey. Now could be the time when the stars align, and as you step into this new version of yourself that we just spoke about, that will be discovered during Saturn retrograde, you may have a new channel of abundance that comes along with this new version of you. It could be very exciting, Aquarius, and when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 12th house that goes in alignment with all of this, because it means that going inward and taking the time to explore your spiritual beliefs will also play a huge part in what fortune comes your way. We know that we become what we believe, right? And we manifest on the outside what is going on the inside. So this Jupiter retrograde is a time for you to really look inward and ask yourself, what do I believe? Do my belief systems support success, or do they have me stuck? Is it a time for me to open my mind to new perspectives that can lead to creating new realities? All of the above, Aquarius, is pointing towards a period of self-examination, offering you the gift of self-transformation. So use this reminder of this Taurus season to reorganize your game plan moving forward, figure out how you can step up a practical day-to-day schedule for yourself, making sure to implement activities that will allow you to take all of the actions we just spoke about, so you can use these planetary retrogrades to reinvent, renew, and revive a life for yourself of joy, excitement, and abundance. This way, when we hit Gemini season on May 20th, you will be in the flow and excited for what's ahead. Now, Pisces. So when Saturn goes retrograde on May 11th in Aquarius, this will be in your 12th house, which means you will be having the desire to do some serious facing of your fears and frustrations. In the beginning of the retrograde transit, you may have an overwhelming feeling of discontent, but don't let this bring you down, Pisces. This is just the beginning of a very promising phase of transformation for you. It just means that you're ready to expand your capacity to manifest the things that you desire. But in order to do so, you must allow yourself yourself to step into that uncomfortable place of bringing a critical eye to your life and the areas that you're not satisfied with. Now, this isn't for you to just sit in frustration. It's to bring awareness to these areas so you can say to yourself, okay, in this area of my life, I'm not fulfilled. So what is it I can change when it comes to my thought process, my spiritual practices, my day-to-day routines that will begin the journey of changing this current reality to the reality that I desire and deserve? This will start by getting rid of outdated attachments. What do you keep around, but you know you are no longer satisfied by? And when you answer that question, you can then give yourself permission to let go of this attachment, which may be scary, but it is necessary in order for you to make space for all of the abundance coming your way. So look at it this way, Pisces. This Saturn retrograde is a time for sorting through the junk. This way you can dismiss and disregard anything and everything in your life that no longer serves you. From thought patterns to toxic relationships to bad habits, it's go time for you when it comes to spiritually cleaning house. And though it may be hard work and emotionally taxing at times, you will be so glad you did when you come out on the other side feeling lighter and more powerful than ever. Now, when Venus goes retrograde on May 13th in Gemini, this will be in your 4th house, which is asking you to redefine what makes you feel at home. Not just when it comes to your actual living space, but when it comes to your relationships in general. What is it you know you require in order to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel confident? Identifying these things will be very useful moving forward, because when anything in your life shows up that challenges your happiness, you know the steps to take to maintain your balance and well-being, because you have your truth as a reference point. So this is a great opportunity for you, Pisces, to really take the time to focus on you and what you require to be happy, so you can communicate that when necessary with confidence and conviction. Now, Venus also deals with money, and since this retrograde begins in your 4th house, this is showing you the possibility of you increasing your income by working from home. So you may already be doing this because of the whole quarantine situation, but if you haven't, you may want to give that some thought, because there could be some really big potential for you there. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on May 14th in Capricorn, this will be in your 11th house, which means you want to take this time to deepen the relationships you have already established, and maybe look into reconnecting with someone from your past that left a positive impact on your life. Someone that often comes up in your mind and you, for whatever reason, have put off reaching out to them. Well, during this Jupiter retrograde, it could be a good idea to reconnect, because there could be some good fortune connected to that person. So overall, Pisces, these 3 big planetary shifts are giving you the opportunity for growth, deepening the relationships you have with yourself, and learning to love yourself on a new level where you put your needs as the top priority and you don't feel guilty for doing so, while also making sure that the people that you love are also getting your understanding, they're getting your compassion, and they're getting that capacity you have to share and your support. Look at it as though it's a time meant to reveal truth, so you can take that truth and build an even stronger, more confident, fulfilled version of yourself. So use this Taurus season to organize your game plan moving forward, so you can begin to take consistent action implementing that game plan and implementing the information we just spoke about. This way you're in the flow, and Gemini season can begin to bring you the promise of new experiences and all the abundance you deserve. Okay, so there you have it, what this Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter retrograde have in store for you. I really hope you all found this information useful. Thanks again so much for hanging out with me and for all of your positive energy and support with the channel. Like I said, it really, really means a lot. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.